Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the program. I told you all before I went to Joshua Tree that when I got back, I'd have a surprise for you. Well, I have a surprise for you. This afternoon, I will be sitting down with Dr. Stephen DeLay, and we will be discussing all things Jeffrey Epstein involving the world of academia. Now, for those of you who have been listening to the podcast for some time, you definitely remember our first chat with Dr. DeLay, and you remember how incredibly awesome it was. So I am completely stoked to sit down with him once again today and talk about all of this stuff. He has been a very, very strong voice coming out against his colleagues in academia who have been, let's be honest, who have been negligent in their response. You know, the whole entire world of academia should have came out and decried this. And these people who were engaged at any level should have been shunned professionally. You know, we talk about this cancel culture and people getting canceled for tweets and shit like that, but yet people turn the other cheek or ignore when there's serious issues like stuff like this with these academics. Should Joy Ito or Pinker or any of these people have Twitter accounts? I mean, look, if that's the way we're going, right? If we're going the way of censoring people, then how come we're censoring people for tweets, but we're not censoring people for their behavior? So personally, you all know how I feel about it in the first place. I don't think any censorship's a good idea. I think censorship is bullshit. But if we're going to play this game, then it has to be done on a level playing field. Or else all you're going to do is form more animosity and create more radicals. And maybe that's what their goal is, right? To create as many radicals as possible. Because that certainly looks like what their blueprint possibly is. The idea is to keep all of these crazy ideas in the public forum so that they can be challenged and shot down, and that more better and intelligent ideas can be put forth. Because, folks, I have to tell you, censorship is just not the right way to go. But if we're going to go down that route, I don't want to hear about Joe Bob from Iowa who got kicked off Twitter because he posted some ridiculous conspiracy theory. Meanwhile, you're letting Jeffrey Epstein's buddies who enabled him and helped refurbish his image, and in some cases, a lot more, well, those people still have Twitter accounts, huh? So, I'd like to see a little bit of consistency. That would be nice, wouldn't it? So, I guess my point is how in the hell do they justify that, right? Some nobody making some tweet with ridiculous content, and that person gets handled right away. They get their Twitter account suspended. But you have all of these people who still infest academia, who were palling around with Jeffrey Epstein, who were receiving money from him, and who were also benefiting from that relationship greatly. And these people, well, they can still tweet. They can still do whatever they want. So how about some consistency? Or the route I certainly prefer, how about we just avoid censorship altogether? All right, folks, so this morning's article is a quick one. Last night when we finished off, I told you that we would touch on the situation with Ghislaine Maxwell complaining that she's being abused behind bars, saying that she has to swab the decks and clean walls and all that other nonsense. Well, guess what? You are a federal prisoner. What do you think? They have a maid service that comes in to clean your showers, that comes in to clean your room? That is your job, okay? When you're a child, that's what you learn, responsibilities. You wake up in the morning, you clean up your room, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, you avoid abusing children. Not a very difficult blueprint to follow, okay? But now she's behind bars and she's crying foul. Well, guess what? It's time to do some chores, Ghislaine. It's obvious that your pops and your mom never made you do any, so you're making up for lost time now. Enjoy swabbing the decks. This article is from the New York Post. And the headline is, Ghislaine Maxwell says she's losing her hair and was abused by guards behind bars. Oh, cryptic. Guards, she was abused. Ghislaine Maxwell was abused. What, did they wrap a towel around a wiffle ball bat and give her the business? Did they hang her upside down and beat her feet off like in that the movie about the dude who got busted in the Turkish prison? Is that what happened? Or probably, more than likely what happened was, she had to clean up after herself. I know it's a rough task for somebody like her or for people like her, but guess what? You are now property, understand me, property of the federal government. And if they tell you to clean a toilet, guess what, Ghislaine? A toilet is getting cleaned. And that's not abuse, by the way. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. That's just the way it goes. This is a lady who has never had any rules, who has never had any sort of laws that she had to follow. She did what she wanted, when she wanted, as much as she wanted to do it. And there was never anybody there to tell her differently. Well, guess what? Now there's people there telling her differently. She can't have a lettuce wrap sandwich. She has to clean her toilet. She has to clean her jail cell. She has to clean her shower. And guess what? That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Enjoy your stay, Ghislaine Maxwell. Boy, I usually complain about my tax dollars being wasted, but in this case, they are being put to a fantastic use, and that is keeping this lady behind bars until her conviction. Ghislaine Maxwell was physically abused by a jail guard during a pat-down search and is withering to a shell behind bars, dropping weight and losing her hair, an attorney for the accused madam said. Accused madam? You mean general? All-around scuzzbag, fellow child abuser? That lady? That's who you mean? Oh, yeah, okay. Not madam. Said in court papers filed Tuesday. So she's dropping weight, she's losing hair. Wah! I mean, I feel like Nero right now fiddling as Rome burns, folks. That's how upsetting this all is to me. Poor Ghislaine. Give me a break already. Oh, what? So you're having some stress-induced physical reactions to being locked up? Oh, welcome to the real world. You think people that get locked up don't have the same reactions that she's having? How about people that get locked up in general population and then they get targeted by other inmates? What do you think? They have a great life? Their life is fantastic? Their hair isn't falling out? They're not withering away to a shell of themselves as they're being abused sexually and otherwise on the main line? And she has it bad. Whole fucking, F word, sorry about that. Whole entire wing to herself, computer access, the whole flip. And this lady and her lawyers actually thinks that anyone is going to be like, well, she's losing her hair and she's withering away in jail. It's time to let her out. Breaking news, jail isn't supposed to be comfortable. It's not supposed to be a place where you want to go. And I think Ghislaine Maxwell is learning that right now. In the letter to Judge Allison Nathan, Maxwell's attorneys complained about the conditions she faces at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, including sleep deprivation, inedible food, and the alleged abuse by a jail guard. So, sleep deprivation. Every one of us. I don't know how many. Do any of you out there actually get the recommended amount of sleep? Or does your life keep you running on about 4 hours? I know for the most part, I run on about 4 to 5 hours of sleep. And I don't even have kids. So I can't even imagine what most of you out there are running on. Sleep deprivation? Give me a break. You know what gives you sleep deprivation, Ghislaine Maxwell? Going to sleep with an empty stomach, okay? Being poor. That gives you sleep deprivation. Not knowing where your next meal is coming from. That gives you sleep deprivation. Not knowing if you're going to have a pair of shoes that fit you to go to school. That gives you sleep deprivation. Every single thing you're suffering right now, Ghislaine Maxwell, is self-made. The letter states Maxwell is subject to constant searches, about 4 per day, and surveillance by jail guards, which she claims is to make up for the Bureau of Prisons' failure to prevent her alleged cohort, oh, I like that word, cohort, I use that one, well done, Ben Furherd, Jeffrey Epstein, from killing himself, allegedly, in 2019. You know what that's called? That's called learning from your mistakes, you epic morons. You should be happy that your client is being protected. What, you want her getting rolled out of there on a gurney as well? I'm sure a lot of her powerful friends like President Trump or President Clinton they might have the same idea, but the rest of us actually want to see some justice in this case. And we want everybody else who has been involved to be exposed. And I do not care if that shatters and rattles the highest levels of government, academia, or business or anywhere else. Enough is enough with these people. They have treated us as chattel for far too long, and Ghislaine Maxwell crying about her prison conditions is about as ludicrous as anything I have heard in this whole entire story. Miss Maxwell continues to be at the mercy of a revolving group of security officers who are used to guarding hundreds of inmates, but now focus their undivided attention exclusively on one respectful, middle-aged female pre-trial detainee. Maxwell's attorney, Bobby Sternum, wrote, "So she would have us believe that this is like the screw at the Shawshank Redemption, beating Ghislaine Maxwell and treating her unfairly, and all of the guards teaming up to beat her with toweled wiffle ball bats so it doesn't leave marks." That's basically what they're saying here. You notice they don't specify any specific guard, right? Because then they'd have to provide proof. And they're not going to do that. What they'll do is they'll try and muddy the waters. They'll try and act like she's being abused, like that everybody's in on it, but they won't even give you one single name. And you know why, folks? That's because they can't. Recently, out of view of the security camera, Miss Maxwell was placed in her isolation cell and physically abused during a pat-down search. Oh, okay, sure. So we're going to take the word of Miss Maxwell about being abused? What does that mean? If that's the case, every time I get on a plane, I'm physically abused too. Because inevitably, TSA loves to pull your boy out of line and touch him in places that he shouldn't be touched by strangers. So what is this lady even talking about right now? Haven't been on a flight lately, Ghislaine Maxwell? The TSA are the handsiest people on earth, and millions of us go through those searches on a daily basis. So shut your stupid mouth already. When she asked that the camera be used to capture the occurrence, a guard replied no. When Miss Maxwell recoiled in pain, and when she said she would report the mistreatment, she was threatened with disciplinary action, Sternum added. Oh, okay, sure, because Ghislaine Maxwell, who is being held on perjury charges, aka lying, is somebody that is a quality witness, somebody we should just, Ghislaine Maxwell said this is happening to her. We got to accept it for what it is. That's what Sternum wants. She wants the public to think that Maxwell is being absolutely abused in this prison, when it's the complete and utter opposite. She is being given all sorts of different rights that no other inmate's ever gotten. I've talked to a bunch of my friends who have been in prison, federal prison, and none of them had a laptop in their room. None of them, not one of them. They didn't have half the things that Ghislaine Maxwell is given. So she should really, really keep her mouth shut before she gets her wish. After the trial, after she's convicted, let's see how quickly they want her in solitary confinement, and this whole entire tune changes. Because if you put her on the main line, she's going to find out just how good she has it right now. Guards then forced Maxwell to clean a shower with a broom as retaliation for reporting the abuse the letter claims. Well, don't talk back to your parents, Ghislaine, or you're going to have to clean your shower and your bathroom. I'm guessing they made her clean her own, by the way, folks, okay? I'm sure they didn't pull her out of her cell and bring her down to Joe Bob's cell in the other hall and say, clean his cell up. I'm sure that didn't occur. The letter was filed in response to a message by prosecutors about Maxwell's jail conditions. Nathan, in December, ordered prosecutors to submit written updates about Maxwell's lockup conditions every 60 days after she complained about them in a separate letter. So this is just par for the course now with what Judge Nathan has asked for, right? So expect these reports every 60 days and expect Ghislaine Maxwell and her attorneys to come up with some far-fetched BS every single time. Sternum added in the note that Maxwell is awakened constantly during the night because guards flash a light at the ceiling of her isolation cell every 15 minutes. Well, guess what, Mrs. Sternum? I'm sure some of the survivors wake up every 15 minutes at night thinking about what Ghislaine Maxwell did to them. So, what's your point? She has to be woken up, that's part of the protocol, then hey, that's life. She's also withering away due to inedible food and grimy water dispensed at the jail. Well, obviously, she's never been poor. You want to talk about inedible food? You see, the thing is, these people have never had any hardship, folks. They don't know what it's like when the rubber meets the road. They don't know what it's like to wake up every single morning and tie some construction boots and hit the construction site in minus 10 degrees, swinging a hammer like a madman to feed your family. They don't know what any of that shit's like. All they know is their so-called high society rules, where everything has been given to them on a platter. And now she faces a little turmoil, a little hardship in her life, and instead of facing it head on, she withers from it, not from the behavior, and shows her true colors as a yellow-bellied coward. Having been incarcerated in de facto solitary confinement for 225 days and monitored by 2 to 6 guards 24 hours a day with a handheld camera dedicated to capturing her every move, except when it would record improper conduct on the part of the guards, it is not surprising that Miss Maxwell feels she is detained under the control of the Bureau of Pretrial Punishment, the letter states. It's so ridiculous that they think that this tactic would work. Nobody's going to listen to this shit, okay? If the guards are abusing Maxwell, let's see the proof. And then it becomes a different discussion, because nobody should be being abused, physically abused at the hands of some guard, that's for sure. But guess what? I don't buy it, okay? I need proof, evidence. Without that, it's just more bullshit falling out of Maxwell's mouth. Maxwell is awaiting trial in Manhattan federal court for allegedly procuring underage girls for Epstein to abuse and lying about her relationship with him under oath. So, there you have it, folks. The latest in a long line of Ghislaine Maxwell crybaby complaints. And it's basically the same complaint as the last time, with a new bow on it and some new wrapping paper. My guess is, it's not going to go over so well for her once again. Prosecutors will counter her points, and the judge will rule in the favor of prosecution, because it is quite obvious that Ghislaine Maxwell and her legal team are going through every last thing that they can think of to try and find a way to get Ghislaine Maxwell off, because they understand that once this trial starts, that is the beginning of the end. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at Bobbycapucci at protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. All right, folks, I will be back later on with my second interview with Dr. Stephen DeLay. Hope you folks all have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you soon.